Hi guys, I'm Rachel Polansky. I'm an investigative reporter at NBC2 in Fort Myers. For this Get to Know Your Board Member segment, I'm going to be talking about why I got into journalism.
Mr. Cheney, if you're found guilty, it is a first-degree felony.
It's inappropriate to make a comment on a case that's pending. It's also inappropriate to chase him down the courthouse.
It's also inappropriate to take people's money and not build their homes, and we've been trying to talk to him for over a year and a half.
So how much money have you lost throughout this ordeal?
$15,000.
We lost around $40,000.
It's a modern-day stick-up, you know?
Right.
They just don't have a gun.
So after this story aired, we ended up doing a lot more stories on the same contractor who was allegedly ripping off a lot of people. After a year of hard work, a lot of phone calls, this is what happened.
Coral Police arrest a contractor for fraud. Christopher Cheney, owner of Southern Premier, is charged after dozens of people told the NBC2 investigators he took their money but didn't do the work.
Where's New Life based out of?
Why?
Because I'd like to know if it's a real organization or if you're taking these people's money.
Go online. Go online. You'll see newlife.org.
So we did. newlife.org. That's a church in Massachusetts.
I'm just trying to find out if you're in any way affiliated with solicitors who would be collecting money down here in Fort Myers, Florida.
Nope. We also checked newlifechristianchurch.org. And that's a church in New Hampshire.
And you do not have anyone from your church who would be collecting money here in Florida.
Neither church knew a thing about these Fort Myers solicitors who were supposedly collecting money on their behalf.
Even after the 5% increase, Florida state troopers are still among some of the lowest paid in the country. Doesn't that seem more like a cause for concern than celebration?
I think you have to work every year. I have another year, hopefully another good budget.
This is all about you, knowing who you're doing business with. FPL Energy Services says it's doing nothing wrong. Contractors not associated with them say they are. New tonight, the Florida Public Service Commission confirms it has cautioned FPL against misrepresenting the communications of its unregulated subsidiaries.
Letters. In your mailbox. Offering water service line coverage.
Have you ever received a letter that looked like this?
Absolutely.
And who did you think it came from?
FP&L.
Viewers asked me, is the power company now in the water business?
Just wondering, curious why FP&L's getting involved with water pipe issues.
Most people I talked with agree on one thing.
Who did you think this letter came from?
I thought it came from FPL.
It absolutely looks like an FPL logo.
While the logos may look alike, this mailer is not from Florida Power and Light.
That's kind of a surprise.
It's from FPL Energy Services.
Consumers do not know that. It is not explicit. It is discreet.
Competitors, like the president of air conditioning company Cool Today, claim that's deceptive advertising.
Average consumer won't see anything but that FPL logo and that jagged symbol in there.
Fort Myers contractor Jim Britton says the same thing.
It just doesn't smell right.
And FPL Energy Services doesn't only sell water service line coverage. It's also recently acquired a new company called Jupiter Tequesta, which offers AC, plumbing, and electric services. So how can one company wear so many hats? Well, Jupiter Tequesta is a subsidiary of FPL Energy Services. FPL Energy Services is a subsidiary of FPL, and FPL is a subsidiary of NextEra Energy. All four share the same main office, registered agent, and several of the same officers.
You're sharing central offices and things like that. It gets really gray.
I also got my hands on this email from an FPL Energy Services recruiter who uses an @FPL email address and says he works on behalf of Florida Power and Light. But is there anything wrong with that?
Is FPL Energy Services actually breaking the law?
In my opinion, they're committing an advertisement violation under Chapter 489.
Construction attorney Trey Batcher is representing some contractors who are upset over the branding.
They're listing scopes of work that are outside of what they're qualified to do. They have a general contractor qualifying, and they're advertising AC services. That's a licensing violation. You can't. That's an advertisement violation.
A spokesperson for NextEra Energy tells me NextEra Energy and our subsidiary companies operate efficiently by utilizing available resources where it makes sense to keep costs low for our customers. As far as the logos and the branding goes, she says they are two separate logos. In the meantime,
I think it's wrong.
You can expect to see more of these mailers.
I don't think FPL should be competing with the mom and pop operations.
Only now,
They're too big.
you'll know where they're coming from.
They can make plenty of money just selling electricity.
Florida contractors have a petition with more than 1,700 signatures asking Attorney General Ashley Moody to investigate FPL. Her office tells me it is reviewing that petition.
Only on NBC2 tonight, these customers took their concerns to our investigator, Rachel Polansky.
Yeah, Kelly, Peter, I cover a lot of these types of stories, and I have never seen anything like this. This group of more than 50 people is organized. They're mad, and they want justice. When you're building a custom home, you might expect some hiccups along the way. But none of these customers expected this.
It's pretty emotional for me.
Broken promises.
Because it's all the money we had, you know.
And half-built houses. But that's exactly what happened to Greg and Mary Higgins when they signed on with HD Custom Homes.
What I've paid them is $343,000. But when they gave it to me, it was roughly 50% completed.
And they're not alone.
And how much money are you at a loss?
$220,000.
Ann and Tom Hill say they're going through the same thing.
Because our house is only 45% complete, even though we paid 90% of it.
In fact, every person in this room tells the NBC2 investigators that they were ripped off in some way by HD Custom Homes. The company is owned by Stephen Dukes and Matthew Harden, so the NBC2 investigators went to their homes for answers.
No one answered the door at Stephen Duke's house, and now we are at co-owner Matthew Harden's house. But as you can see right here, there is a for sale sign in the front yard and a lockbox on the door. Clearly, nobody's home here either.
But a check on their records revealed that both men still have active construction licenses in our state, something that these customers are trying to change.
They need to be charged with embezzlement and fraud.
The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office tells me that it's currently investigating HD Custom Homes, and it has already received 15 complaints.
We need our retirement money back.
In the meantime, customers who say these builders left them high and dry have come together to submit complaints and letters to the county and to the state.
The numbers have to come in for them to wake up and say, hey, this is a big amount of money that these people are stealing from all the folks down in southern Florida.
And most of these folks tell me it's not about the money anymore. It's a matter of principle.
I mean, I certainly would love to be made whole, but I don't see that happening. So I would just like them to go to jail.
This group is not going to give up. We're not going to let it go away.
Now, something I thought was really interesting here, this group of people actually found each other on Facebook. They started their own Facebook group called HD Owners Unite, and that's how they've been kind of getting to know each other, collaborating, and trying to take these contractors on.
When this North Fort Myers dad drops his daughter off at school,
my daughter's name is Jada.
He worries about how she'll do in class.
She likes reading.
He's never worried about her health until today.
And if there's something that could be seeping through the floor or something somewhere, they should at least check for it once a year.
We told Lee Grooms about radon, the radioactive gas that can enter homes or schools from soil or building materials and seep through cracks and openings in the foundation. It's colorless, odorless, tasteless, and the CDC says it's the #1 cause of lung cancer among non-smokers. Jada Grooms' school, Bayshore Elementary, hasn't tested for radon since 1997.
It's kind of scary to think she's here all day while I'm working and she could be breathing something in, you know.
The NBC2 investigators pulled records from the Florida Department of Health dating back to 1994. And out of the 83 public and private schools that have been tested for radon in Lee County, 64 of them, or 77%, have not been tested since 1996. Out of the 42 that have been tested in Collier County, 37 or 88% of them have not been tested since 1996. And the schools are not doing anything wrong because mandatory radon testing is not required in either county.
To me, as a public health expert, that's frightening.
Dr. Matthew Shabath, an epidemiologist at Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, was shocked when we told him about the lack of radon testing taking place in Southwest Florida schools.
The data shows unequivocally there are pockets throughout the state of Florida in any given county, even those low-risk counties, where you can find a given building or a given room within a building where you have very high levels of radon.
And he says this is not a one-time measurement. Just because a classroom tested low for radon 20 years ago does not mean that it will test low today. And that goes both ways. A classroom that once tested high for radon could show low levels today.
It's like a flowing river where it can ebb and flow, and it's something that requires constant measurements over time.
Now, Charlotte County does have to test its schools for radon because of where it's located on this Florida radon protection map, but it's only required in brand new schools. I asked Charlotte County Public School spokesperson Mike Riley if he thinks that all schools should be tested.
We rely upon the experts at the state Department of Education and the state of Florida. If they feel that that's the correct amount of time for us, that's what we're doing.
So what happens if schools do find elevated levels of radon? According to the Florida statute, mitigation is recommended, but the state does not require any action.
The last testing we've done are the 2 newest schools that we've built.
Public records confirm that radon tests were performed at Lemon Bay High School in 2016 and Meadow Park Elementary in 2018. Both schools had low levels of radon.
So what determines a low or high level of radon? The gas is measured in picocuries per liter, and levels of 4 or more is considered hazardous. Since 1994, the NBC2 investigators found 23 schools in Southwest Florida that had classrooms with radon levels over 4 picocuries. In Charlotte County, we found one classroom that hit 38 and another that hit 48. Is this a legitimate concern?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to the analogy. Would you fill a room with cigarette smoke and let your kids sit in there?
Lee Groom says he wouldn't.
I don't let my kid ride in the car with someone who smokes.
And now he wants some answers from his school district and his state lawmakers.
I would definitely like to know that somebody's checking into it.
Neither the Lee nor Collier County School District agreed to participate in our story. Now, I've also reached out to several lawmakers, and so far, only State Senator Kathleen Pasadomo has told me that she's looking into these issues. You can see the last time that your child's school tested for radon and what those levels were at NBC-2.com. For the NBC2 Investigators Tonight, I'm Rachel Polansky.